As the media and Democrats freak out about the Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency's latest efforts to cut spending and waste, our next guest is spelling out the full truth of DOGE and all it can do. He says in a Fox News digital op-ed, quote, "The need of the hour is DOGE to set a tone, not of chaos and fury, but of prudence and common sense, and for Congress to work off of that tone to do sensible reform to our budget." Here with more is Bahnsen Group Managing Partner David Bahnsen. Great to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us. So, but there are a lot of freakouts going on. And I feel like for a lot of those people who are freaking out, they're not actually paying attention to the specifics.
I think very few are paying attention because I think their freak out is mostly political. You know, the whole idea that we don't know who's in charge of DOGE, the people who put up with Biden not being really president in the White House are now worried that they don't know who this Elon Musk guy is. It's disingenuous. But I think a lot of the freak out is because certain things are being cut and certain things are being exposed that are embarrassing. Ultimately, my point is let's take all this good energy, but Congress has got to run with it. They're the ones who have to do something more long term.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. One of Elon Musk's strategies with his companies is when he decides to cut an assembly line to make it more efficient, his rule of thumb is if he doesn't have to go back and put back 25% of all that he cut, then he didn't cut deep enough. Yeah. And I think we're getting some of that because there have been mistakes, there have been errors, but that's all kind of part of cutting with a chainsaw.
Well, it is. And so there's this old expression about you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And I'm okay with some things being broken along the way, but I would like to know exactly what is the omelet we're getting to. What we're told is it's to cut spending out of the budget.
Right.
But see, DOGE can't do that. So they have to embarrass certain aspects of misuse, fraud, waste, corruption to a point where Congress actually cuts so it is part of the budget.
And so how does that work exactly? Because I agree. I think that's the most important thing is you've got Republicans in both chambers, albeit slim majorities, but you can actually buttress all of this with legislation. And it has to be.
And it has to be because constitutionally all executive branch can do is enforce. And the president has a lot of plenary authority to enforce laws. And that's where a lot of these oversights of these departments, some of which should be going away, is important. But yeah, Congress legislates and the budget is part of legislation. I think that if you do enough embarrassment, you'll get Democrat votes on some things to cut because it'll just be public support overwhelming for how ridiculous some of the expenditures are. That's where this chaos and fury thing I allude to comes in. If it just becomes perceived as a big chaotic project, too much chainsaw, not enough razor, then at that point I worry that it won't have the effect to get Congress to act.
Well, and I love that you're pointing out the fact that this is not just a technical thing that's going on here. It's a political thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they can continue to wield this political cudgel to get a lot of good things done for taxpayers.
And that's where when Vivek was a part of this early on, I loved because he's a great communicator. Yeah. If DOGE was just a PR effort, that's okay with me because you need PR. You need to expose. The USAID thing is a big example. How many Americans had heard of it?
Right.
How many Americans knew what it was? Now they not only know what it is, they know that, yeah, there was a couple good things going on, but there was 80 or 90% was really, really bad. So you have to expose that, but then that's the thing. Congress has got to act, and Congress doesn't like to take big, bold action.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what we got to do.
David Bahnsen, thank you so much for breaking it down for us.